Welcome to our next segment on our exploration of icons of the Divine Feminine. Now, I grew up with Christian icons of Madonnas holding babies and um, the supplicant Mother Mary with her eyes upturned in a beautiful garment of blue, either revealing the stars or praying to the stars. But in the Hindu tradition, the goddesses take on a much more lively and um, dynamic form. And today I want to explore the goddess Durga, and she's considered to be the mother of all creation, or the mother of all the goddesses. And literally in Sanskrit, evidently, Durga means a fort or a place that is difficult to overrun. So she's considered to be like, she's also known as Shakti or Devi, and is the protective mother of the universe. And she's one of the most popular deities because she's the protector of all that's good and harmonious in the world. And she rides astride a lion or a tiger, and she battles the forces of evil in the world. So here she is. She's a goddess. Her literal name means fortress or anything difficult to overrun. And she is also referred to as Durga Nashini, which means, or literally translates as the one who eliminates sufferings. So in a sense, she's sort of like the divine orderer of the world, and she goes around trying to reduce levels of evil, and she has certain weapons and symbols that she uses in particular. Now, one of the things that women will really relate to is that she's many-limbed. I can't remember if she has like 8 or 12 limbs, but she is also referred to as the three-eyed goddess. Her left eye represents desire, symbolized by the moon. Her right eye represents action, symbolized by the sun. And her middle eye stands for knowledge, which is symbolized by fire. But, if you think about how women are, like we always have like a hand on the phone, a hand on the baby, a hand in the garden, a hand writing the checks, a hand checking in with leaders in the school or community to make sure that our loved ones are being taken care of. So the weaponry that Durga uses is very precise. So she has a conch shell, which symbolizes the mystic word Om. And so in a sense, Om is meant to be the preservation of the sound of God in that form and sound. Now she carries bows and arrows, which represent energy. And by holding the bow and arrows in one hand, she demonstrates her control over both forms of energy, both the potency of the arrow she lets fly and the kinetic nature of how one gathers energy and moves it. So she also has the thunderbolt. And that just basically means firmness in her convictions, that she's really going to throw down when it comes time to throw down and doesn't lose confidence. And in one of her hands, Durga holds the lotus, which is not yet fully in bloom. And it represents the promise of the fulfillment of potential. The lotus in Sanskrit means born of mud, and it's just reminding us to have faith even when things look awful, and that someone can stay true to their quest right in the middle of a muddy world full of lust and greed. So she also carries a Sudarshan chakra, which means a beautiful discus, and it spins around the index finger, and it represents that she orders the world. She spins things into motion at her command. So she's a manifester, and she uses this particular weapon to create a momentum that repels evil and is conducive to the growth of righteousness. So again, it has to do with like climate change in a way, in the spiritual sense. Finally, she holds a sword in one of her hands, which is about knowledge and the ability to cut through bullshit. A goddess usually has a pretty good bullshit detector. And finally, a trident. And the trident is a symbol of three different qualities. And you have to kind of know the vibration of certain things to understand what you're working with. And in this sense, it can be inactivity or stagnation. It can be activity or too much activity. Or it can be non-activity, meaning taking no action to allow things to settle so that one has a clearer vision of what to do. Using these three qualities, she can alleviate physical, mental, and spiritual suffering because she can actually tune into the body or the being of an individual and find out, is the mind overactive? Is the digestion overactive or inflamed? Or are there areas of stagnation? And by bringing those into balance, her weapon, using the trident, is to restore the proper flow of energy through the system. So, as I said, like she's depicted riding on a lion and represents this kind of power, will, and determination because she wants to master all the qualities. And her pose is called freedom from fear. So it's sort of like she's moving through life using all the resources at her command to restore the highest order to life around her that she can. So that's a little bit about Durga, and she is both feared and loved in the Hindu tradition, and definitely makes a fearsome creature. And we will talk about the appropriateness of having a more dynamic goddess energy in our own lives in our discussions. Thanks. Bye.